1/6 proportions. So this is the last section of the quarter, and it is the last type of equation we're going to focus on before moving on to other things. And it's sort of a special type of equation, right? It's slightly different from the ones we've seen before, and right away you can see that there's a lot of fractions. So a proportion is a special type of equation that forms when a fraction equals a fraction. So when you have two fractions equal to each other, that is a proportion. And we're going to solve these proportions using what's called cross multiplication, which I'm sure you've at least heard of and probably done before. Maybe the things we'll get to today will be a little more complicated than you're used to, but you've hopefully seen this before. So our goal is still the same: get the variable by itself. That's what we're going to be doing. It just works a little differently. So this first example here, x over 4 equals 9 over 12. And what we mean by cross multiplication is we're going to take the numbers that are diagonal from each other and multiply those. So x times 12, that's 12x. And then 4 times 9, that's 36. And what we do with these is we set them equal to each other, because in a proportion, the cross products, right, the things you get when you cross multiply, they are equal. And so if you divide by 12, now we get x is equal to 3. And that's it. So what we're doing is we're finding the missing number that will make these two fractions equivalent. So 3/4, 3 over 4, is equal to 9 over 12. And we know it is because we set the cross products equal to each other and solved it that way. And that's how it works. So let's go on to the next one. It doesn't really matter which ones you start with. I tend to go top left to bottom right. It's just my habit. It doesn't really matter. So 3 times x, that's 3x. And then 4 times 9 again, 36. And when we set these two things equal to each other and solve by dividing by 3, x equals 12 here. And you can see these two proportions we just did are related, right? They both have the fraction 3 over 4 equal to the fraction 9 over 12. And so this will show you that when you have two equivalent fractions, your cross products show you that those are equal, and you can use that to find the missing values. So in the first one, the 3 was the one that was missing. The second one, the 12, was what was missing. But you see, we end up with the same two fractions. So those two are just to kind of help you visualize what's happening here. Now, sometimes, like in example C, one part of the fraction won't just be x, it'll be an expression. Like here, it's 5x. It's okay, it works the same way. 3 times 20 is 60. 5x times 2 is 10x, right? 2 times 5 is 10, so 10x. Set these equal to each other. We'll divide by 10 to solve here, and 60 divided by 10 is 6. As long as you remember to go diagonally when you multiply, you should have no issues. Now this is kind of tricky. The top here is x plus 4, and we're multiplying it by 14. What I want you to think of here is this is grouped together, right? X plus 4 is what we're multiplying by 14. So what you want to do is to kind of distribute that 14 to both of those values, to the x and to the 4. Right, so 14 times x is 14x, and 14 times 4 is 56. So 14x plus 56. That is what we get when you multiply x plus 4 times 14. And now on the other side, 7 times 2, that's 14. And now when we set these equal to each other, we have to solve this two-step equation. So our first step is to subtract 56. So 14x here equals, well, 14 minus 56 is negative 42. and then that gets divided by 14. And so x is -3. Just like any equation, you can take that value of x and plug it in here. So -3 plus 4 is 1. And so you have the fraction 1/7, which is equivalent to the fraction 2/14. Okay, example E. 3 times 10, that's 30. On the other side, we're doing 6 times 2x plus 1. So remember, you're distributing the 6 to the 2x and to the 1. So 6 times 2x is 12x. 6 times 1 is 6. We'll set those two things equal to each other and solve the two-step equation. So -6, so that's 24 equals 12x. Finally, divide by 12. And x is going to equal 2. Okay? So sometimes you'll have an entire equation afterwards that you'll have to solve, and sometimes it's just a one-step. It just depends. Now this last one, you can see we have two things to distribute. Don't get overwhelmed. Works the same way. So first of all, 2 times x plus 1. That's 2x. And then 2 times 1 is 2. And then the other way, we have 4 times x minus 2. So that's 4x. And then 4 times -2 is -8. We're going to set these things equal to each other. And now we have an equation that has variables on both sides. No problem. Start by subtracting 2x. 4x minus 2x is 2x. You still have the 2 over here. You still have the -8. And now we add 8. Okay, so that's 10 equals 2x. Finally, dividing by 2, x equals 5. So there you have it. Proportions are equations where you have two fractions set equal to each other and solve them using cross multiplication. So just don't forget, multiply the cross products and then set them equal to each other. Solve the equation that you get from that.